Former worker for the athletics department in Poquoson locked up on child porn charges.
We first broke the story on Wavy News 10 midday. 55-year-old Robert Rollins faces nearly a dozen charges. Last week, authorities got a tip and started looking into claims that Rollins had child porn. 10 on your side's Lex Gray learned more about those charges and Rollins' role with the school system. Lex?
Yeah, Tom and Nicole, I found out today Rob Rollins has a long history with Poquoson City Schools. He was a school employee for nearly 10 years, and then up until his arrest, he worked as a volunteer and employee with the athletic department. But now that he faces those 10 child porn charges, the school superintendent tells me he's no longer welcome to work with the schools at all. On social media, it appears Rob Rollins had close ties with Poquoson High School athletics. This is taken from LinkedIn, and others taken from Facebook show Rollins on the sidelines at high school football games. School officials say he did work as a volunteer coach when he worked for the schools as a maintenance man back in the 90s, but they say his current ties aren't as close as they might appear.
Mr. Rollins served as a volunteer statistician for our football team, and periodically he kept the clock at some basketball and volleyball games. He was not any kind of a coach, teacher, supervisor, nothing to that capacity.
That's Brandon Ratliff, principal at Poquoson High School. He acknowledged that, yes, Rollins would have been around students since he would have been on the sidelines at games. But he says he wouldn't have had access to students outside of that.
Nothing without another coach or someone else or supervisor present. Basically, he could have been physically there while he was keeping the stats or the scoreboard, but other than that, there was no kind of access.
Okay, so he would have never been alone with a student?
No. No.
Okay. Ratliff also defended the school's decision not to notify parents about Rollins' arrest. What would you say to a parent who says, well, I've seen that guy on the sidelines, I've seen him around, and it makes me uncomfortable to hear that there was no notification? Right.
Well, I would tell them the same thing. You know, he did not teach, coach, or supervise kids in any way.
Now, investigators say that there is no indication that any local students were victimized, but they're not ruling it out since it's still early in this investigation. Rollins is in jail without bond. His next hearing is coming up on September 24th. Now I'm live in Poquoson. Lex Gray, 10 on your side.